Welcome to the My House Podcast, a show about the past, present, and future goings-on at the My House Youth Drop-In Center in Wasilla, Alaska, with your host, Michelle Overstreet. Hi, welcome to episode 70 of the My House Podcast. I am not Michelle Overstreet. I'm Isaac Smolden, and today I am filling in for Michelle, and I am very excited to once again be talking with Brad Alexander, our partner and author of the Cranky Critters books, and we are also joined by one of our peer supports, our client navigator, Sam Nergison, also known as Sam Sea Lion, star of the soon-to-be hit book, Sam Sea Lion Went Solo. Brad, it's very nice to see you again. Thank you for coming in.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sam, thank you so much for being willing to record with us. I know that you're normally quite the chatterbox, so this is a great opportunity for folks to get to know you a little bit better and talk about this story. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Brad.
Sir.
This is the second book that we have done in partnership with you.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about why you chose this book to be the next one on our list.
A few reasons. One is I got some connection with Sam's family, and I think that's a primary one. Sam is someone who has continued on his recovery journey. I reached out to him and let him know because I presented the story at his graduation, and he said that he was happy to have me include him in the book series, and so I was grateful and did a little more fine tuning to the story to make it book ready. And yeah, I'm excited for it. And I will say that as part of the backstory here, when Sam first came to us at Vita Nova, at his intake, he says to me, now his mom had attended previous graduations at Vita Nova, and so she had heard me present a story for another client. And so Sam shows up doing his intake, and he says, oh yeah, my mom told me to make sure that you write me a story for my graduation. And I was like, okay, well, how about we get your intake? And then we start working on getting you graduated. And then we'll see about the story thing.
Sam, obviously you were going to be an animal that started with S, and you are the animal that Brad went with was sea lion.
Yeah.
Were you happy with the choice of sea lion for your animal character?
Well, I didn't really know it until my graduation. I didn't know it was going to be a sea lion and all that.
When Brad read that it's Sam Sea Lion going solo, did you feel like that fit your personality, your identity?
Oh, yeah.
You could associate a sea lion as your dude.
Yeah.
And anthropomorphic spirit animal for the Cranky Critters series. Brad, we've worked through two books now together, and you've certainly written more. And we have more on the horizon, which we're very excited about. But for me, when I first read this was, my only other point of reference for us was, actually it's right here in frame, was Ramon's book. So tell me about what some of the differences are plot-wise, story-wise, on your end between our first project, Ramon Raccoon, and Sam Sea Lion.
Some of the differences are the trauma experienced in youth. Sam's has to do more with abandonment and then isolation, things like that, low self-esteem and things that go with that. And so he can share more what he wants in there, and I don't want no spoilers. But so that was a difference, and that's kind of the key is I think with each story is there's a different origin to what led to the addiction, and then the process for him was was unique as well. He was quite guarded, and it took time. There were some trust issues there, and so it just took time and patience. And so I tried to just lean into that, just being patient and letting him get to the place where he felt safe to start opening up and sharing things. And so it took a little bit longer. There were there were some sessions where I did a lot of the talking, and Sam gave one-word answers to questions and stuff. But each person is a little bit different, and so that was with Sam. And he did, though, eventually started to open up and started to allow himself to express things and start to heal. And it's a beautiful process, no matter what angle you come at it from.
I think that one of the themes in here, and again, no spoilers for the book, because we want you to go buy it and read it and all the things. But one of the themes that I think is really important that this talks about is kind of not only to what you were just saying, Brad. Sam is someone who was adopted, growing up and kind of learning to reconcile with those feelings of biological family, but then also through the book and through the process, getting to find have that found family as well. To put you on the spot a little bit, what would you say to someone that has gone through the foster care system or is adopted? What allowed you to find your family and find your community?
Well, they just put me in that home, and I was in there for like 4 or 5 years, and then I finally got adopted to them, and just, yeah.
There's a picture in here. I asked Ramon the same thing, because I'm always curious when I'm reading the story, right? About what is the narrative, because it's a children's book, and what is a reference to something. So my favorite page when I first read it, and I was sitting down with Ozzy, who is again off screen, but I will showcase some of the art in here, and of course in the audio book and in the physical book, you'll also have a great look at it. It's as much as I even love the artwork in Ramon Raccoon, I think Ozzy really took the art in this to already a whole nother level just on book 2. But when I was reading through the manuscript, there's a scene where Sam is in the water and Sam gets attacked by this orca. And I've always watched a lot of Planet Earth and nature documentaries, so I just remember watching the orcas or the great whites. I think both kind of use this behavior where they'll go up to the sea lions and they'll flip the sea lion straight up out of the water. And I was like, all right, I want to see Sam Sea Lion flying out of the water. And Ozzy and I had a big back and forth on that. So for both of you, is the orca scene, is this and don't share more than you're comfortable with. Is this a reference to something in particular, or more so just a metaphor for those major life events that I think a lot of folks in recovery experience, where it brings you to that point where it's one of those defining life moments that influences addiction. And
yeah, basically that.
Yeah, it was definitely metaphoric to a series of events, really, within his relationship, and that led to more drinking, and it just fed, his addiction fed off of that series of events. And so, yeah, the orca is encapsulating several different times, different events.
My favorite page in both books is this introductory scene to Vita that we've now had in both, and this one I love because it's multi-paged. Of all these animals, Sam, all these folks, and I know you've flipped through it.
Yep.
Which one of the illustrations do you think is most like the real life person that was at Vita, either a staff member or a client?
Trying to remember that right now.
Because I have an answer.
I have an answer too.
Probably the staff.
Which staff? Because that's also what I was thinking. Thinking maybe a certain magpie that wouldn't stop chirping.
Oh. Yep.
Maggie the magpie.
Yeah.
What is that? And I don't have a lived experience to pull from, but what are those feelings like when you start in this page is so chaotic? Would you say that that's what it's like for a lot of people during their first days at treatment, trying to acclimate to that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of pages in here with Brad and Sam talking. When Brad did you in the process of writing this book, was there a moment in your guys' meetings where the narrative started to become more fleshed out? Was there anything that stood out to you as kind of being that seminal moment in those conversations here in the latter half of the book?
Yeah, and I would say, similar to the earlier question, it was more of a series of things. It wasn't just a spark moment or a light switch coming on. It was much more gradual, and so it was later in his time at Vita that I started to get a good idea of where the book could go, as he was late blooming in opening up on things, and so and he had brought up another time or two as we were getting closer to his graduation about the story, and I'm like, bro, give me something to work with. and he did, though. He did, and not just, I say that jokingly for the sake of the story, but he did. He got to that place, and without me nudging too hard, I am a Badger, so a little bit of that. But yeah, it was gradual, but I could see that light slowly coming on, and then when he started talking about things, and particularly his daughter was a key element to his addiction as well as his recovery. And so once he started processing things about her, things about adoption, birth parents, then it was like, yeah, he got to those root causes of addiction, the things that led him down that path. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and highly encourage folks to check it out. It's on Brad's Facebook. We'll have the link to it on our Facebook and our website. Sam, as we start to wrap up, what has joining the recovery community and what has that meant to you? What are the things that you get to do now being in recovery that you appreciate most about making that decision?
Just working for a great place and all that, and being able to buy a lot more stuff and keeping more in contact with my family and all that.
Nice.
Awesome. Sam Sea Lion went solo. Check out the audiobook on YouTube. Check out the physical book on Brad's Lulu page and all of our social media. And stop by the building and join us for Supper Club and talk with Sam and Ramon. Our goal is to hire every single person that Brad has ever written about at some point. Stay on the lookout. We have our next book already in the works, and it involves a certain spiky creature that was wandering around the forest. So we are very, very excited to continue this project. Sam, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Yep, no problem.
And Brad, thank you again for not only taking the time today, but also partnering with us on this. It is my favorite project, I think, that we are doing right now out of the recording studio.
Yeah, I'm super glad, and I'm grateful for the partnership that we developed that I developed with my house, and that we're partnering on this. It's just, it's going far beyond my expectations. So I'm really excited and grateful.
Awesome. Thank you. My House Podcast is recorded at the My House Studio in Wasilla, Alaska. Our producer and editor and illustrator of Sam Sea Lion went solo is Ozzy Keener. I am Isaac Smolden for Michelle Overstreet and everyone here at My House. Until next time.